Hello, you guys. So, this is just a quick. I should have. It's fine. This is just a quick addition to the video you're about to see, updating you on how the wedding went. I accidentally deleted the raw video that I made, and I was just gonna cut it into two parts because I also talked about fast food. I've uploaded that part of the video. So, I'm just going to bring you up to speed to where that video picks up. So, I participated in my friend's traditional Vietnamese wedding, and basically, the way the day started, so actually, Vietnamese weddings are an all day event. The bride's family has to put on a reception, and there are certain rituals that are performed at the bride's house. Then the close family members and friends travel to the groom's hometown or home, family home, wherever he grew up. And his family puts on a ceremony or a reception, and then they perform the rituals at his house. So I got to be at my friend's house, and so like the way the day started at 7 a.m. Really, I got there at like 8 because things were running. No, so I was supposed to be there at 7:45. Um and so basically the groom is not allowed to enter the bride's house. It starts at the bride's house, so they set up a tent outside of the bride's house. And in Vietnam, most people live in apartments, and so they put the tent on like the ground floor of the apartment outside the front door. Um, and under the tent they set up tables, and that's where like like the friends and the extended family come, and they have snacks at the table, and they sit and they wait for the groom to be able to enter the bride's house, and for them to come out together, because the idea is that the groom goes to the bride's house. His family has to ask permission for him to bring her back to his family home, and that's when they're allowed to leave the house together. So I got to wait inside of my friend's house. It was just me, her mother. Her sister wasn't really in there. Her sister was kind of outside mostly. Um, and she had like one or two cousins that were coming in and out. And even her father waited outside. He was greeting the guests and things, the people who were sitting at the table. So that was really cool. I felt really honored that she invited me to be inside the home, which is like very private and limited as to who can come in there. And so we were just in there, and it was funny because we were, like sitting kind of like how we did when we were working on her bachelor's thesis back when I lived in Hanoi. And so it was great. I was just, we were joking and talking, and I was trying to keep her calm because she was really nervous about putting on the reception. She felt like it was a lot of trouble, and just wanted everything, all the details to go over as planned, because it's essentially a big party, and she really likes to host and felt like it was a lot of people and was just like really nervous about that. And so I was basically yelling at her, not yelling, but telling her to be calm. Everybody's there just to see her and to have food and just for the occasion. The small details don't really matter to them so much, even though like, you want them to be right and perfect, but if something does go wrong, then it's not going to be the end of the world. So that was really nice. And so then while we're in there, her mother comes in. Her mother doesn't speak English, and so her mother has her translate for me, and she says that she's so proud of her daughter, and that part of the reason is because of me, because obviously she's proud that her daughter is so accomplished at speaking English. If you watched like one of my previous videos, or yeah, I explained how we met, and I actually, just I helped her with some school things, and kind of mentored her beyond that. And so her mother was saying that she's so proud of her daughter, and that she owes it partially to me, and the time I spent with her, helping her with the English and like the other things and all that stuff. So that was really touching. So then what happened next? Oh, so then like at one point a lady comes in, because certain family members were coming in and out. And I helped my friend set up so like when you're a Vietnamese bride, I don't know if it's the same for all families, but like the bride has to like make them like inside the house set up snacks and things, or my friend took it upon herself. She's really into doing stuff like that. So that might be unique to her. Maybe another family would hire someone to do it. Um but I was helping her set up the snacks because she was like freaking out. There aren't enough snacks. What if there aren't enough snacks? There were plenty, and no one came in to have the snacks. We basically set up candies and tea biscuits, or bischoff, and tea. There's tea in every setting throughout the day during Vietnamese wedding. Um, Limited amount of people were allowed in there, so obviously no one's really having tea. I did sit with her mother and her aunt, or her grandmother. I don't remember, but I'll have to like look. I've been so like my sleep pattern has been really weird, and actually around the time of the wedding, Sunday, I was sleep deprived. So we sat and I posed for photos. Another touching thing is that I'm in like her family wedding photos now forever. So I posed with her mom and her and her mom and her grandmother and her aunt inside of, I think that lady was her aunt or her great aunt, I don't know, inside of the house. And we sat and we had tea together. And then yeah, like they went off and did other stuff, and then another lady comes in and says something to her mother, and it's like completely casual. You would think the woman came in and was like, hey, can I borrow the scissors or whatever. Then my friend says, oh, that's the guy she was about to marry, her fiance's aunt. And she just did the part of the ritual where she asks for permission for him to come inside and bring the bride out with him, like to his house. Ask for permission, and I'm like, is that what that was? She's like, oh yeah, that's what that was. And I'm like, well, so casual. Like, is that what they really were talking about? So anyway, then he's allowed to come into the house at that point. So he was actually waiting on another street, like the next street over, because they actually started in his hometown and they drove down to Hanoi, and he waited the next street over. Maybe because I like my friend really wanted me to be there, so I was running. We were both running late, but yeah. So um I'm really glad that like that I got to be there for that, and before like everything began and he came to the house, his family came over and all that stuff. So then he comes into the house. I don't even recognize him. I've never met this guy. And so she's like, oh, this is, says his name or whatever, her fiance. And I'm like, oh, hey. So then she's like, oh, well, she invites me to come up to do the prayer ritual with them. And so that's basically okay, so Buddhist and Hindu homes have an altar set up. If you've ever been in an Asian home and they have like a section like on the floor, or on like a shelf or a table or something, usually like the floor or a shelf, like an altar type thing set up where they put money, incense, food, things like that. That's like an altar that they've built for their ancestors, and that's why they put that stuff there. It's for the ancestors. And so my friend's, her house is kind of like it's got like an upstairs loft type area. and that's where their altar is. And so I was invited to go up to their altar, and that's where like the bride and groom will say like a prayer. Actually, she my friend described it as announcing to the ancestors that they plan to get married, or asking their permission, or announcing something like that. And so again, I felt very honored because this is like super private. So at this point, it's just me, my friend, her fiance, obviously, her mother, and then a photographer. I think the part of the video that didn't get deleted picks up at this point. So I'm going to end this video, and you should go right into the next one. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the story from here. Ooh. Okay, this is gonna be in a second file. So her mom and I stood and watched, and and a photographer came. While they have certain prayers that they're supposed to say to the ancestors. So her mother handed them a printout, and they both said the prayers to the ancestors. And basically, she said that it's announcing to the ancestors that they plan to get married. They had put some more stuff on the altar before we got there. So I went in there with her earlier. I don't remember why. And they had like a boiled chicken on there, like a fresh boiled chicken and stuff, maybe some fruit. Anyway, so the prayer ritual, I joined the prayer ritual. That was, I said, so she is a Christian, or she accepted Christ and is a believer, but also, like does her cultural stuff as well. Like for the wedding, it's very traditional, and this is what she said to me, like, they don't have much of a say. They have to follow the tradition. And her father, I also later found out, had been kind of like controlling in the process as well, in terms of planning the wedding. So we do that. And then, so yeah. And so like when I'm like, wait, so he's allowed to see you now? And she's like, yes, his aunt came in, so it's fine. And so then at that point, we were able to go out of the apartment and downstairs and join the rest of the guests. And that's when the two fathers do speeches introducing all of the family members. And, we sat for a while. And then it's just like people taking pictures, basically. And then from there, we all went to the reception hall. So her family rented a reception hall for their reception, her side, because remember, both sides have to do a reception. So her family rented a reception hall, and we went there, and it was nice. There was a ton of food, a ton. The seafood was good. There were like these big fish that they had roasted for everybody to eat communally. It was like it was wedding-y, at separate tables for everyone. It's kind of a funny, cheesy Vietnamese thing. They do, first of all, they play like this Captain America type music when the couple walks in, and then the father gets on stage, the bride's father gives a speech, because it's his reception, his, family's reception, or, like their side's reception. And so her dad gave the speech, and then they have a thing where you've seen those champagne glasses that are stacked in a pyramid, the champagne tower. So they pour the champagne. I think the bride and groom poured the champagne into the glasses. I thought we were all gonna do a toast with the champagne glasses. And it wasn't champagne, it was some red stuff, like Kool-Aid color. Maybe it was non-alcoholic, even though they do drink. And we had wine. There was wine on all the tables. And so, like the bride, the groom, and her parents, maybe her sister got to go on stage too, but like they all had glasses of the red stuff. No, maybe her sister sat down. I don't remember, but like and then they all have to go around and toast everyone at every table individually. The Vietnamese are very big on toasting. There's more of that when we get to her now husband's hometown. So that and then after that we just ate and it was cool. One of her former coworkers sat at our table. I met up with actually one of her another Western friend of hers who her actually is her sister's friend, but now he's like a friend of the family, he and his wife, and they're from Atlanta. So and his wife was super sweet, and he's kind of a funny, quirky guy. Like when I was walking up the stairs into her apartment, he came barreling down the stairs. He's like, I know you, I sent you your invitation, because he happened to be in the States a couple weeks before the wedding, so she gave my invitation to him so that he could mail it and get it to me faster while he was in DC or wherever he was. And so I didn't really know much about him, and so I'm like, wait, what? You know me? And he's so excited. He's like, yes, I know you. So anyway, they turned out to be cool. We ended up riding together. So her family put me and him, his wife came for the reception and then left, and they have like an adopted daughter. So cute. She looks to be Sri Lankan or something. She's so cute. But she was there, and then the mom took her and they left. She's like 3 or something. But yeah, so her family got us, we all rode. So her relatives rode. So after the reception, we took more pictures, and then everyone who's going to go to the husband's hometown, that's when we all go. And so a lot of people just came for the reception and then like went about their day. But the closest family and friends go to the hometown. So I went, of course. I was so honored again. And so her family got us private cars to ride in. So there was a bus for all of her relatives. And then like cousins, aunts, uncles, maybe her grandmother probably rode with her mom. So her mom and dad rode in an SUV. She and the fiance rode in a sedan. So they rented here, private cars are a big deal here, even though it's changing. The middle class is starting to get cars now, which I have mixed feelings about. But, and as a matter of fact, her father got her a car as a gift, but I think it's a gift for like her and her sister. And I believe like their whole family's probably going to use it. So her new apartment with her husband has underground parking, which I think is kind of a new thing in Hanoi because people, no one really drove cars here. So he got her a car, but I think it's, like the family's going to use it. And so her parents have getting driving lessons for her and her sister, and they go together. So I think it's going to be a shared car. And her sister was saying to me that their father's very practical. So reading between the lines, he got them a gift that they could all use. So, and then I'm pretty sure she doesn't mind. They don't mind, whatever. But, yeah, so the cousins and other people, they load onto a minibus, but her friend Ryan and I, so Ryan was also doing video for them too as well. He's into video and stuff. There were like 3 photographers, and Ryan doing video. But we rode in, they got an SUV for me and Ryan, and one of the photographers was driving the SUV, and then there was a man in there with him. And then there was another SUV for, I think, her parents and grandmother probably, and maybe like maybe her uncles, or I don't know, I think the uncles rode the bus. But like I was honored again because like they reserved a private car for us to go when, plenty of room on the minibus. So that was really cool. I think her sister rode with us up. I know she rode back with us, which was cool. So then we get to the husband's hometown, and these are like country people. They're not from Hanoi. They're not from the city. Um, and yes, that exists in Vietnam too. It exists everywhere, I think, like people's country relatives. So, we go to their home, and they live like in, it's almost kind of like, it's not big and open like a subdivision, but it's a complex of houses. So my friend's apartment, it's literally like like how you have a row of, like, maybe think New York or somewhere, but it doesn't look like New York. Like you have like apartments and then stores and shops and things attached. That's how her place is, but traditional Vietnamese. And but his is like a complex of homes. So maybe you could still call them apartments. They're connected, I think. Yeah, they're connected, but it's a little bit more, it's definitely not on a busy street because, like, it's rural up there. As a matter of fact, a cow crossed in front of our SUV. A cow was crossing the road. And so we had to stop for the cow. It was so funny. It was almost like the cow wanted to come and check out the car. And then he just kind of like doubled back and went back to eating grass. So, there's a water buffalo in Vietnam. There were water buffalo up there too. I actually almost disclosed something about, whatever. Anyway, so we get there and his family has their reception set up. So they have the tables again. And I have pictures of all this stuff I'm gonna enclose, insert throughout the video. But yeah, so they have the table set up and a stage. So there was a stage at the reception hall, but theirs is like a combination of so you know how I said there was a tent set up at the downstairs of her apartment, my friend's apartment, and then we went to the reception hall. His family's reception was like a combo of that. So we didn't go to a reception hall. They set up a stage, and it looked like they rented some space from their neighbors across the alley. Like there's a walkway. Actually, you can drive a car or a motorbike there. There's like a way in between, like a path, like an aisle in between the houses on this side and the homes, apartments on this side and the apartments on this side. And I think they rented the space across from them. So we sat, there were tables set up with the stage, and oh my god, his relatives are so country, but it was awesome. They were like thrilled to see me, to meet me. There's a little bit of a backstory. I don't know if that played into it or not, but there's kind of like I'm kind of, when I lived in Hanoi, I was recognizable for like some of the things I did, like through work and whatever. So there was that. Some people would recognize me. And then, so maybe that played into it, maybe it didn't, but they had heard about me and stuff like that. So they were super excited. And I sat at the table with his grandmother. So his dad, tried to sit me with family, but I wanted to hang out. I was hanging out with my friend's sister. My friend's sister has social anxiety, and so she would kind of like keep a distance sometimes, and so I would just keep her company, and vice versa. She was keeping me company. She speaks English. And also Ryan, the guy who's doing the videos, the other Western friend, he didn't really sit down and eat, but like I would kind of like see where people were sitting and then choose. Like I sat with his wife at my friend's reception, my friend's family side of the family's reception. So this time I ended up sitting with. Oh, I'm sorry. I blanked out. With his grandparents, a grandmother, and like another older lady, like a great aunt or something, and some other people. So I was like kind of where two tables kind of met, And they were very sweet, like we're so once we got there, my friend and the fiance had to go. Wait, are they officially married at this point? Kind of. I don't know. Well, no, they had to go and do the other half of the day, basically the rituals, and kind of the same thing. So they went and to his family's altar. I didn't go this time because like once you get to the groom's family's hometown, they take over and the bride's family can relax. So they had everything planned for us, and so they have us. It's their say over how things go, and I don't know them. So they went and did the prayer ritual. Excuse me, to the ancestors, and then came back. But we're all like eating and stuff like that while we're not eating, but having snacks again. So they had candy, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds set up, oranges again. And so his family was so sweet. They would I'm just like sitting and watching things, and just to be kind, they would people are peeling the oranges and eating them, and they really like those oranges because they're really sweet. So like one of his family members would peel an orange and then come over and hand it to me as like an offering, like a gesture, just like a kind gesture, like a welcome type thing, a comfort thing. And so a couple people did that. I forgot to mention, this is funny, like, so I met my friend's uncles, and she's got this uncle that's like 70, the oldest on her mother's side, the oldest uncle. I don't know, I think he's the oldest. And so he took a strong liking to me, let's say. And so he was sitting way on the other side of the tent. So there's like a big tent set up here too at their place, to block out the sun and all that. And so he's sitting on the other side, and there's like stuff going on. So, oh, right. So the groom's family sang karaoke. Karaoke is very popular. It's like a big deal. Vietnamese really take their karaoke seriously. I thought it was funny that his family wanted to sing karaoke, but it wasn't like a fun, it was, to them, it's like them putting on a performance. So you go up on, they had arranged who would go up on stage and what song that person would sing. And this one guy was so funny. He was like feeling it. He was feeling the song, the vibe himself. He gets up there, he gets the mic, he looks down dramatically, and then he's like, and then starts singing. And so my friend told me after all that was over, I was like, I was surprised that there was karaoke. And she's like, yeah, I didn't want that to run. I didn't want too many of them singing. Like, what? She said, well, yeah, so I asked, I told, her husband, I told him to tell his family to limit it to 5 people max. So I thought it was funny because it's kind of like, or back in like the 90s, I guess people would kind of make fun of like stereotypical black weddings where somebody's got to sing something like Luther Vandross or whatever, or the bride and groom were singing to each other. There are a lot of parallels between the way between Southeast Asians and American black people, I think, which is kind of funny. Like my friend, she was like, well, the day starts at the ceremony, our half of the ceremony and everything, or the gathering before the ceremony starts at 8, but Vietnamese people are always late, so some people are going to come after 8, and some people are going to come after that. So I thought it was funny, and it is kind of like a running thing here. Oh, Vietnamese people, they're going to be late. So anyway, back to his half of the ceremony. I'm almost done. It's a full day, so we started. They started. I thought I was gonna go for like the makeup. I think my friend, she felt bad about me getting up early, so I came like after her makeup was done. but before the groom came into the thing, the house, the apartment. So I was really glad I was there for that. But anyway, so they did their prayer ritual at his house. The family members sing karaoke. The uncle, like, something's going, oh, so they're doing speeches. So his father then gets up on stage and does a speech, because remember, her father had to do that at their ceremony. So he again, he introduces his family members in the hometown, because we haven't met them yet. And then he gives his speech, and he's kind of a funny guy. I like her husband's dad. I like that his family is so sweet. So all this is going on, and I'm paying attention to, like, the stuff on stage. The 70-year-old uncle, and if you know the type of dude, like the older man who walks around in like linen leisure suits, he was that dude. So the Vietnamese version. So he gets up. He's like sat at his table. He peeled an orange for me. Oh, I don't know this or whatever, but he's over there peeling an orange. He gets up and makes a beeline straight over to my table just to hand me a peeled orange, and like practically leaps over two other tables just to get there. Everybody looks at him like they think it's kind of funny, because he's kind of a funny guy or whatever. And even funnier, so like after all this, it's then time to eat. So we have dinner. We had lunch with her family. Now we have dinner with his family. And so we go over across the walkway to like the other half that I guess they rented from their neighbors. They've got more tables set up. They had a really good food spread as well. And so they had more traditional Vietnamese food. So they had and also the director of the place where my friend and her husband met, so they met at work, and then she stopped working there, and now he's going to go back to working there. He actually went to work in South Vietnam, and now he's going to come back to work there, as far as I know. He speaks English, the director, so, he invited me to sit at his table. Of course, all the men sit at that table. Including the leisure suit uncle. He sits across from me. And so her director, I felt kind of bad. I think he got shy or something, but he's like, yes, I will, it's good. You can eat traditional Vietnamese food. I'll help you. I'll show you. He's trying, like, Mr. Take Charge or whatever. And so he's like, this is this, and try some of this. And so, we had, there was like a pork thing wrapped in banana leaves. To me, it tasted like a hot dog. So I had one bite and I was like, meh, because I'm not into hot dogs. And then kind of the same texture of a hot dog, but it's like a grayish green color, maybe from the banana leaves. And then what else did we have? They had prawns. They had the big shrimp too, but no one was eating it, so I didn't eat it. I found it strange that they weren't eating the prawns. Then there was like a kind of like these pieces of beef, cooked beef. That was good, although, like, Vietnamese, or in a lot of cultures, they eat like the tendons and stuff like that, and I got some chewy pieces and I was done after that. There was like these chicken kind of like flattened chicken nugget type food, but there was like a leafy green vegetable. It was like it was breaded in a leafy green vegetable, or wrapped in a leafy green vegetable and then breaded, and with peppers and things, so it looked kind of like confetti. Those are really good. And then there was just like a regular kind of like, same kind of like a large flattened kind of chicken nugget type thing, but it looked regular. No confetti or green veggie. So to drink, we had Coca-Cola products, Fanta, Coke, Coca-Cola, beer, and they had this rice wine. It was stronger than a wine, though. It was like in between wine and liquor. I think like a light liquor made from wine that was sweet. It was good. And but so everybody, like, the teacups are this big, and at every stop I've mentioned there's teacups, except at her reception I don't think there was tea, which is funny. No, there was tea outside. So like before it started, there were tables outside that people could sit at, and they had tea, but it was in like glasses. But yeah, so here, I don't think there was tea, but oh no, there was during like across the way when we were like with the karaoke and everything and eating the oranges and sunflower seeds. They had the teacups again. There's this really strong jasmine tea that has like kind of a smoky flavor. Like all teas here do. They have more of a pungent flavor. So which is growing on me. I'm starting to like it. But so the teacups at the dinner table though were for the wine, and so they would come around, or like someone, the drunken or the leisure suit uncle in my case, they would pour wine, and then or like the rice alcohol they call it, and you toast with it, and everybody, they drink it as a shot. I sipped mine, although it's that, smaller than a standard shot. But I didn't know, I had never had it before, and it tasted kind of strong, like stronger than a regular rice wine or a plum wine or whatever. So, and these are country people, and like like I'm from the South, we got like our alcohols down there. I don't know what these people, yeah, so I was cautious about it. And then you shake hands with everyone at the table after you do the toast. And so people would come around and pour more of it, and then you got to shake hands with that person. So and if you don't drink, they don't really shake your hand. It's kind of funny. Or I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. And so the dude from the institute was explaining, like, shaking hands means that like it's finished, the deal is done, or like concluding like the day or the ceremony, I don't know. Or like, I don't know, like goodwill, I don't know, but that's what he said. It signifies like completing, it's complete, whatever. So there was that. And then at the end of dinner, oh yeah, like the rest is kind of like inconsequential details. We ended up, my friend's sister ended up taking me and Ryan, there's like a river next to where they live, so we went and watched the river. I think she kind of needed a breather from all the people, and she said she was worried about us being around Vietnamese, surrounded by them. And I'm like, well, we both moved to Vietnam, so it's not that big of a deal at this point. Once you decide to live in a place like that, Anyway, so, but that was nice because we got to talk, and her sister and I didn't really talk. Like, I would see her and she'd say hi at the house and things like that. But she ended up confessing to me that she was really shy and just afraid to have a conversation with me for all those years. And then she opened up and, like, it talked a mile a minute for the rest of the day. It was great. And I felt good that, like, she told me that and was able to feel comfortable. And so yeah, her sister's really sweet. She's a cute girl, very nice, very sweet. She's like, I didn't want you to think that I was mean or that I'm a weirdo. You probably think I'm a weirdo. I'm like, no, it's okay. Trust me, don't worry, it's okay. So anyway, after that, her family and I, we all, the bridal party, we all drove back to Hanoi. It's nighttime by now, because the sun does go down earlier here, like it does in other places during the winter. So we all leave her with him and his family, and then we drive back to Hanoi. And so they stay there with his family overnight, and then they return to Hanoi today. And yeah, so that is a Vietnamese wedding ceremony. That's what I did all day. I got some footage, so I'll do a short video on like preparing. And it wasn't like a big deal. So my friend actually did her own nails and things like that. And she had a makeup artist though. But I was running around all day the day before looking for shoes, which shoes are a challenge if you're tall, if you wear anything over like a size 8. Size 9s they carry now. It's pretty easy to find size 9, but anything other than that, not every store is gonna have your size. So I went to the export shop, which is cool. So all the stuff that you're buying overseas, like in America, Europe, other places, a lot of it's made in Vietnam or in the Southeast Asian region. And here in Vietnam, they have shops where the stuff comes from the factory, and you can buy it there for like a fraction of the price. And so I went to one of those places and found found shoes that matched my dress exactly, and it was awesome. So I'm gonna show you that video. It's gonna be one of my running around town videos. And so yeah, on that note, I'm going to end this video. So until the next one. Did I show you all my food? Yeah. I got some more snacks here too that I can show you, but that can be another video, Vietnamese snacks. Anyway, till the next video, take care and be well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.